So Sandra, I don't TikTok, I'm not talented. No.
We're live.
Neither am I, so don't worry.
Okay, Heather tells me we are live.
Thank you.
So I would like to call the meeting to order, and before we adopt the agenda, I would just like everybody to know that some of us are here in the council chamber and some are at home on Zoom. So in the council chamber, I have myself and Councillor Bazarowicz. At home, we have Councillor Sutherland, Councillor Strang, Councillor Boulanger, Councillor Horbis, and Councillor Spicer. In the council chamber, we also have our...
Just going to start recording on, Madam Mayor, I'm just going to start recording on the Zoom as well, because there's several people on Zoom.
Okay, then I will start over.
Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't realize that you had guests on Zoom.
Well, all members of council are on
Oh,
Zoom,
okay, so there, but there's nobody else?
No.
Okay. Okay,
Recording
so,
in progress.
so Deepak just started recording on Zoom, so we might have missed a couple. There's no delegations or no people, it's just members of council that are on Zoom, so I'm not gonna start over again. And we have our CAO, Deepak Joshi, and we also have Heather in the council chamber with us today, and she is our office assistant. So with that, I would like to call the meeting to order, and if I could have a resolution to adopt the agenda, please.
Resolve the agenda for the meeting be adopted as circulated with the noted additions. New other business, 6.3, Travel Manitoba 2022 travel guide. 6.4, Selkirk record, Pink against bullying. And then bylaws, 8.2 is a summary just to describe what are the changes in the burning bylaw.
Okay, I believe Councillor Boulanger moved that, Councillor Horbis is seconding that. Any other additions, questions, deletions to the agenda for today's meeting? Hearing and seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried. Okay, the next item is the confirmation of the minutes, and that would have been from our last regular meeting on January the 25th. So if I could have the resolution, please.
Resolve the minutes of January 25th, 2022 regular meeting of council be adopted as presented.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Bazarowicz, Councillor Spicer seconds. Any corrections, deletions, additions to those minutes from January the 25th? Hearing and seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried. Okay, we don't have any delegations today, so we'll move on to communications for action. And the first item we have is AMM, invitation for a virtual and in-person meeting. And that is the AMM insurance program. So I'll let Deepak speak to it for a moment and see if anybody is interested to attend.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I will just share the screen so all council can see it. This is the AMM meeting for February 10th and February 11th is the Zoom meeting where we've got a motion put forward for council to attend the Zoom meeting. As part of the U.S. And what this meeting is specifically related with is the insurance program that's offered through AMM.
Right, and I believe the date of the 10th is actually for in Brandon, so we wouldn't be going to that one. We'll just all, if whoever wants to attend can attend virtually on the 11th. So if I could have the resolution then. Is there any interest from council on attending that? Okay, I don't see any hands going up, so
We'll pass just a
we'll pass
general
the
motion.
Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
So, does the CAO plan on attending this? It says kind of mayor, CAO, and other council members if interested.
Yes, I will be registering as well as I'll probably have Heather register for us as well. I have already registered for myself.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, so if I could have the resolution, and then we'll move this one forward, please.
Resolved, Mayor, Feeble Corn and councillors be authorized to attend the AMM update to the AMM insurance program in Breck on Zoom Friday, February 11, 2022.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Bazarowicz, Councillor Spicer seconds. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, 5.2 on our agenda is an invitation from the Lord Selkirk School Division to attend their virtual draft budget presentation, and that is on February the 17th at 7 o'clock, and I believe that's a Thursday. Anyone interested in attending via Zoom, because we can just pass a resolution for those that want to attend. I myself won't be able to, so I'm not sure if anybody else would like to attend virtually for that. I know I attended last year, and it was basically they presented what they were going to be doing for the year, and then there was an opportunity for questions at the end of it. So we could pass the resolution and just have it there. If anybody does end up going on there, that will be good. So go ahead and bring up the resolution, please, Deepak.
Thank you. Resolved, Mayor Feeblecorn and councillors be authorized to attend the virtual presentation of the draft budget meeting on Thursday, February 17, 2022.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Strang, Councillor Horvath seconds. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, number 5.3 on our agenda is the Recreation Manitoba. There's the new dates for the conference. I did look at the agenda, and it looks like there are some good speakers, and basically it is going to be now in person on May the 5th and 6th. So interest in attending, anyone? Councillor Strang? Anybody else?
Yeah, I think so.
Councillor Bazarowicz? And at this point in time, I would also like to attend, but that could change between now and then. So anybody else think that they may want to go? I know it's a ways away yet, but I think if you want to attend, you should be picking what sessions you want to go to, because I know in the past some of them fill up very quickly. So I will get... Go ahead, Rob.
Sorry, just wanted to know the date of it again.
It's May the 5th and 6th.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What we can do is we can pass a resolution, and then if someone else decides, we can pass for all of council, and then if you decide to go, that would work. So, Councillor Strang, did you have a question or a comment?
I was just going to, so this one is in person, because I know they're changing it back and forth with all the regulations right now. This one is in person, right?
The last one that I saw, yes, was for in person on May the 5th and 6th. And I did go to the website also because I wanted to see what kind of speakers they were having. And
Right.
it's kind of, there's some good ones, some I thought were not so good, but you know, we can pick and choose as we see fit. So, and the format's a little different than it was before, so. Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
Just for clarification, I believe I read that they are setting it for the 5th and 6th, and it is in person. But if it can be in person, those will be the same dates, but it'll be virtual.
I believe that's what I read also, yes. So whether it's in person or virtual, those are the dates. And I guess the other thing that I did read is that if you register for the May 5th and 6th, there's one in March, a virtual one in March, and I think if you register for that, for the conference, you can register, or you're automatically registered for the one on the 3rd. Yeah, it says right on the invitation here, the new early bird deadline has been set to March 11th, but don't delay. Registering for the full conference gives you access to the virtual sessions on March the 3rd. So. Deepak, if you just want to read the resolution for everybody to attend, and then we'll figure out who's going and who's not.
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
Resolved, Mayor Feeblecorn and Council be authorized to attend the 2022 Recreation Conference in Winnipeg, Manitoba on May 5th and 6th, 2022.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Strang, Councillor Sutherland seconds. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Okay, so that is all the communications for action we had. We'll move on to number 6 on our agenda. 6.1 is the Manitoba Water Services Board Water and Sewer Program. And we have had some correspondence from the province, so I'm going to let Deepak speak to that, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This has to deal with, or it has to do with the Manitoba Water Services Board requesting applications to be submitted for their capital program for request of any major capital projects that are water or sewer projects related that any of the municipalities would be interested in. As you know, we've gone through at least 3 of those Manitoba Water Services Board applications so far. One was for the water treatment plant, one was for the sewer force mains, and the other one that we'll be discussing a little later as well is the Grand Marais sewer study to look at linking. What we have outstanding is we had completed the design works for the water main line from East Falkirk as a regional water line to Lockport. The design has been completed and we're ready to be able to begin construction. So we're recommending that we put forward a request to the Manitoba Water Services Board for 50% funding for the water line, for the regional water line from East Falkirk to Lockport as our project.
Any questions or comments? Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
So, I'm just thinking of getting the CAO's opinion on, like, this is a 5-year plan, correct? So do they want all projects, or do they want us just to prioritize one?
At this point, they're looking for just if you have other priority projects, we can certainly put them forward, and they'll slate them into the 5-year capital program. They do make this request on a yearly basis, and right now our highest priority is the water lines for as a major infrastructure water or sewer project. Another
Okay,
one,
thank you.
others could come in time.
Okay, anybody else have any comments or questions? Okay, I believe that there is a resolution for this one.
Yes, Madam Mayor. I made it this morning. Whereas the rural municipality of St. Clements is proposing to connect the Lockport to the East Falkirk Water Treatment Plant, and whereas design of regional water pipeline has been completed by WSP Canada Inc. and with the financial and technical assistance from the Manitoba Water Services Board and the RM St. Clements, and whereas the province has requested municipalities to identify projects for potential funding approval under the board's capital plan by March 31st, 2022, therefore be it resolved, Council requests financial and technical assistance from the Manitoba Water Services Board for the construction of a regional water pipeline from East Falkirk to Lockport.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Spicer, Councillor Sutherland seconds. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. So if we wanted to look further into the Grand Marais one, would we have to put in another application, or would we wait for the next intake?
We would at first wait for the study to be completed, which
Okay.
is beginning this year.
Okay.
And the study, once it's complete, we would be then putting forward an application to do the construction, once the decision has been made, where the connections would be for Grand Marais, and then discussion with council as to the costs associated with it.
Okay, and we're moving forward with the study that's all been looked after. So-
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Anybody else, anything? Go ahead, Rob.
Thank you. Would that study include BPAC, or probably it wouldn't, the public consultation regarding our ideas on sewer in Grand Marais, or would that come after the study? I think the study is to look at how much effluent there is, how big the pipes are, the whole engineering side of it, and then the public, us telling them what we want to do, comes after.
I would say it's a combination, Councillor. Once the RFP goes out for the selection of the engineering company to do the work, we would begin our public consultation and information sharing with our community. And as to the study has started, that we're looking at this, and to gauge the interest in the various community levels, so that can help to feed the study. Part of that study is going to take a look at various options. Options of possibly connecting some of our main business areas, as well as residential areas, and as well as possibly different residential areas, based on interest and commitment of the residents.
And I would suspect, Madam Chair, that Mr. CAO is thinking as I'm thinking, in that we try to stay as far ahead of this as possible in terms of, let's get the message out soon, let's get the message out early. What we don't want is, we don't want people to hear what we're doing and say that we're not including them, we're asking them. This is such an important move on our part to bring that infrastructure to that end of our RM. I think we need to really keep on top of staying ahead of it and getting as much information out as possible. I think we all know in our circle that if this ever comes to fruition in that area, it will be a game changer. And I just think we need to really keep the message on point, ahead of everything.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for that, Councillor Belanger. Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
Just a suggestion, maybe at least a short story in our next newsletter, just to say we're embarking on the study, because then at least we're giving, the heads up. I don't know if that's what Rob's referring to, but at least we're giving them what we have, right, where we're at.
I'm looking for anything we can do that would let them know the journey we're going to be on here, and the sooner everybody knows, the better, and I think they would appreciate that.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, councillors. I would agree. I think the newsletter, great suggestion, as well as putting it on our website and possibly even putting it on a specific page that keeps people updated as to how the study is occurring and what's happening in it. We'll probably need to begin also the next phase of, while the study is occurring, as to seeing the level of interest in the community. And so my next step on that would be to start beginning a process of determining what are people interested in this? Are there concerns? What are some of the highlights, so we can do a little bit of communication and get some feedback?
Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
Yeah, I think the challenge is going to be, until we have some numbers though, it's going to be hard to get, like you might get, yeah, I'm interested, but they're going to want to know the cost.
Correct.
Go ahead, Councillor Belanger.
No, that all sounds good, and I know when we're at that point, when we want to release more information, that our staff in the office there are really good in laying out point form. What are we doing? What is it going to cost me? What is it going to look like? They're really good at putting that out in layman terms, so everybody can really see. This is, once we get all the data information, I think our staff are really good at laying out, getting that out.
Go ahead, Councillor Horbus.
Councillor Horbus?
Yeah, sorry I had some trouble there muting. I think that we should, I don't know, like, Gimli sends out these newsletters, like on paper, saying what what's happening and what's going on. I think that we have to start sending out some paper too, especially in that area, because a lot of people out in that area don't have computers. They're are a little bit they don't hear about stuff like that. So I think a flyer in the mail or something, like a little newsletter, maybe, I don't know, once every 3 months or twice a year, I think we should start looking at that, because what I'm hearing from a lot of people is that they're missing a lot of this stuff because they're not going on the website. So, I don't know, something else to talk about, I guess.
Yeah, and I guess, you know, we are gonna be starting to budget and, you know, and not that it's gonna be a lot of cost, but we'd have to look at it when we're doing our budgeting. And at one time, yes, we did used to send a hard copy newsletter to the whole municipality, but as time has evolved and people have computers, and I know that sometimes up in that area, the connectivity is not so good, so I know a lot of people go to GMCC to use the Wi-Fi there because they can access it there, but from their homes they may not be able to. So it's a good idea, and we'll have to have a look at it for the spring, let's say. Councillor Strang and then Councillor Boulanger.
I was just going to agree with Councillor Forbes, whether it's in either ward. We still have the elderly people, and I brought this up before, that they don't have access to computers. And I don't know how many of you, but I still get phone calls, people questioning different things. And I know before the mayor mentioned about us sending out paper, we also used to do it in the journal or record that we used to put our newsletter in there too. So I don't know, but I do think it's a great idea, but something else to talk about at another, if we're budgeting, I guess. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that, Sandra. And I was going to mention too about that. Yes, we did used to, or at one time we used to use the center of the record, I believe it was, the center page, the 2 pages, and have our newsletter in there. I'm not sure though, like I know with circulation, does everybody up in the Grand Marais area get it? I know the south is good, but I'm not sure about the north, so. Go ahead, Councillor Boulanger.
Yeah, one last thing on this topic. I know we're kind of off on a tangent here, but I think this is really important, and it's a question or a comment to Mr. CAO. I think if we want to be successful in what we're trying to do here, we really have to be unique in how we're thinking in terms of how the ratepayers are going to be able to afford what we want to do there. A project can sink or swim if it depends on buy-in and people seeing the importance of it. So I just want to throw this out that it's in our heads now that we have to think out of the box in that area, and if it means that we throw out that perhaps just an idea that, like other communities have done, that some of this infrastructure buy-in can be put on taxes, that really makes it easy for people, especially if they know they're living there and they're paying taxes, and that carries on to the next owner of the residence. So it's just something I want to throw out that we should be mindful of, that we want to make it easy and we want the buy-in to be successful. So thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Anybody else have any comments before we move on? Okay, I'm not seeing anything. Did we do the resolution for that, Deepak, or was there a resolution for that?
The Water Services Board resolution was
Done?
done.
Okay, so we're at 6.2, and that's the Selkirk District Community Foundation, and they have their community grant program is opening up, so I will let Deepak speak to that one.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and I'll just do a quick share of the grant program flyer. And the Selkirk District Community Foundation is accepting grant applications. We wanted to make sure that council is aware of this. Of course, I'll be requesting Brandon to make applications for the RM for anything that the administration thinks that might be some applications. We'll also make a request from other groups, making sure that all our community groups are aware of this program and that the deadline is fast approaching. The issue that I wanted to bring forward in front of council was there any specific projects or any specific things that any council members were thinking of that we should be making application for.
Thoughts, questions? Councillor Sutherland and then Councillor Boulanger.
Yeah, what does that entail, as far as the grant? What are the guidelines? I'm reading here, I'm just, it doesn't include anything as like a grant towards our Colville sidewalk. That's out of the realm, I guess, eh?
That would be out of the realm, yes, Councillor.
That's, okay, I was kind of thinking about that last night, but, okay, thank you.
Okay, go ahead. I think it was Councillor Boulanger was next.
Yeah, thank you. Certainly this is something we should pass on to our Heritage Committee, especially St. Jude's. It's another opportunity for them to apply to a grant for any kind of restoration or working on that in that area.
Yeah, and I believe, as the CAO has said, we'll pass it on to Brenna, and I think Brenna's going to be working with St. Jude's along with a number of other community groups, so that information will get out to the community groups and the I guess the community clubs and the rec centers, and hopefully, someone will be lucky enough to get some funding from the Selkirk District Community Foundation. So, Councillor Horvis.
So what I'm hearing is like Brenda's gonna get in touch with all these places and help them put these together, like say Stony Point or Grand Marais or Lebo. She's gonna push these people there to apply for these grants?
Yes, she'll notify them and see who are interested in applying for these grants and then offer for help. Similar to the one that we just recently sent out to several groups for the Canada federal grant for community development. It's related directly with COVID recovery. So we sent that out to every community group, Stony Point, all of those, and informed them Brenna was available to help them, as well as this is what the grant is and the information related with it. It gives Brenna an opportunity to continue to approach, but again, we do need those particular community groups to show us an interest so that we can help them do it.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, so I don't believe that there's any resolution for us to pass it on this one. It's just for information for us, and we'll pass that on to Brenna, and she will be in touch and look at some of our projects and other community groups. Okay, 6.3 on our agenda, Travel Manitoba, and that's the Travel Guide Partnership Opportunity. And Deepak, if you could fill us in on that one.
Okay, hang on one second, Madam Mayor, and I'll bring up the document and share it with everyone. And so, what this is they're looking for partnerships as part of advertisement as part of the Travel Manitoba Guide, and it's the road trip guide that they have that they would like to seek support, which kind of highlights specific areas in the RM where people can come and visit, and it's a travel guide that's handed out by Travel Manitoba. They're requesting for advertisement, and what we're recommending is that we can do a feature advertisement for $750 as our investment into this travel guide.
Questions, comments? Go ahead, Councillor Strang.
So I have a question. We have Red River North Tourism that is our first step in before, and then would be Interlake, and it would be the Travel Manitoba. What are we going to advertise different than, say, maybe Red River North? Or maybe we should be contacting Red River North before spending any money on this? I don't know. It's just a thought.
That's an option, Councillor, and I think the big issue is that Travel Manitoba is a guide that's made available to a larger group. Travel Red River North Tourism is specifically guided towards our our specific area and the website. They're not producing the same level of distribution as the Travel Manitoba Guide. And so that was the intent here, is to just get further information. But again, it's the recommendation of administration. If you feel that we don't need to do this and just concentrate on Red River North tourism, we can continue. We have continued to make a commitment to them as we move forward.
Anybody else, any comments?
I think she.
Go ahead, Sandra.
Sorry, I just want to say, I have no problem, supporting Travel Manitoba. I just don't want us to do a feature of an item and then Red River North does the exact same thing, so.
Yeah, and I guess when I looked at this the other day, I was kind of thinking I don't know if it would be like a feature offer or a feature present or a spotlight, but not, I'm going to say not specifically targeting one thing, but kind of trying to put it into perspective of all the different things that we have in the municipality that would be points of interest to people coming into the area. Rather than just say focus on fishing in the Red River, we focus on, or we put it out there for many things, not just one. So it's up to council, $750 if we want to proceed, but it looks like booking deadline is February the 25th, so is there a Red River North tourism meeting in the next week or so? No. So.
No.
Go ahead, Councillor Horbis.
I like the idea, like you said, that like about having the whole, like a page on St. Clements and welcome to St. Clements, and then maybe start at Lockport and then work all your way up to the beach, what it has to offer. I think that's a good idea. I like it.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I just thought rather than focus on one thing, because we do have lots of different things to do in the municipality, and hopefully we'll be having more to do in the future. So rather than target one, I thought that would be maybe a better mix. Go ahead, Councillor Blanchet.
This is a wonderful opportunity as well when you're talking about that, and I know we're not there yet, but if we just throw the tidbit out that St. Clements is working hard on providing Manitobans or locals with better boat launch access, that's a huge way to get that out, and when people hear that, especially people in the fishing community, it will spark a lot of interest.
Okay, thank you for that. So it sounds like we will go ahead with the $750 for, I'm not sure if it would be a feature spotlight or a feature offer, but it appears to me that council would support the $750. Can we have a resolution, please?
Whereas a request has been received from Travel Manitoba requesting sponsorship advertising the 2022 travel guide, therefore be it resolved, council advertises the 2022 travel guide as a feature advertisement at a cost of $750.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Bazarowicz, second Councillor Horbis. Any further discussion? Hearing. Oh, go ahead, Councillor Bazarowicz.
Just, once we get that South End Activity Center up and running, we're planning different activities there, Brenner, whatever else, be it farmers markets or grand openings and that. Maybe, I know it's a little bit premature, we don't have any dates, because we don't know what they are, but something like that could go in there as well.
Yeah, that would probably work too, but I don't know that it would work for this year, but that's something to keep in mind. I'm not sure if, perhaps the playground and the walking trails might be ready this year, but there probably will not be a building there, so. But that's a good idea, so. Okay, I have a mover, I have a seconder. I'll call the question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried. Okay, 6.4, self-record advertisement, and I think this was a little late. I think we just got it yesterday, and it's Pink Against Bullying, and they have the poster there. And that is for Wednesday, April the 13th is the, Anti-Bullying Day in Canada is February 23rd, and International Day Against Bullying is April the 13th. So they're looking for us to put in an ad, and I will turn it over to Deepak if he has anything more to add, and we'll open it up.
I think what we're recommending is a 1/8 page ad, a horizontal ad for both February 24th and April 14th. It's a very worthwhile campaign regarding anti-bullying and something that we're recommending the council approve for a cost of for the price of $230 and $115.
Okay, anybody else have any comments or questions on this one? I will ask Deepak then to read the resolution for us, please.
Resolved, council authorize administration to purchase a 1/8 page horizontal advertisement for Anti-Bullying Day and International Day of Pink to be placed in the February 17th and April 7th editions of the Selkirk Record.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Spicer, Councillor Vazerovich seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, so we've done our communications for action, so we'll move on to our accounts and financial statements. And the first item we have is our accounts for the period ending February the 8th. So I'll have Deepak read the resolution, and then we'll see if there's any questions or queries.
Resolved, council approve the February 8th, 2022 list of accounts, check numbers 22000201 to 2022000304 in the amount of $2,234,290.89 for payment.
Okay, can I have a mover, please? Councillor Strang, Councillor Horvath seconds. Any questions or comments? Okay, go ahead, Councillor Strang.
I guess my one question there was on the porta potties. That check, or what we paid, is that from a certain period, certain season?
Do you have the check number or who it's paid to? I can't, I'm trying to see it here on my screen, Councillor Strang.
I'll bring up the other screen. It was John something.
Oh, right.
Country John's.
Country John's.
Yes, thank you.
Check number is 220000220. It's on the first page, page 107.
Okay.
I guess I just thought it was high for, but I know they are servicing them.
Yeah, and I was looking at, you know, the amount that we're paying out, and I'm trying to see if there were school checks or what brought it up to be over $2 million. I know that the visa is pretty high. I'm not sure when the last time it was paid, but I see it was over $30,000. But I'm just trying to decipher here how come it is such a high amount, over $2 million at this time of the year.
And I guess on the visa comment, there is another, it looks like purchase of another porta potty on there. I thought we had purchased so many of them, although unless they're, like, you know, we're spreading out and putting more out and about in the area for residents and for the tourists.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they needed it at another location, or have you heard anything, Mr. Cio, whether they...
No, I haven't. I can investigate both of those items and come back and report to you at the committee of the whole meeting on the visa, as well as the purchase of the costs associated with the toilets.
Okay, thank you for that. And I guess the other question that I had, and I know that I haven't, I guess, not that I haven't looked that closely, but it's not caught my attention, is I noticed that on the list of accounts now, the GL account numbers are not listed on there anymore. Have we changed the way we do the accounts, or?
We haven't changed the way we do the accounts, it's just the print itself.
Okay. Okay, because I guess for myself, I like to look at what account the stuff is being charged to. And I know it's been probably a little while since they've been on there, but I really noticed it this time, that there are no account numbers. So if something was charged to Public Works, we don't know that from looking at this list. But yet, I could tell when the account numbers are there where it's charged to.
Yes, Madam Mayor, we provided a separate report for you in the past, which gives the detail of the account numbers, correct?
That's on the monthly financial statements, yeah, not on the list of accounts when we're looking here, so.
Okay, I can look into that.
Okay. Anybody else have anything? Councillor Horbis, is that your hand up for a question?
Yeah, I remember before when we bought these toilets, one of the things that we were kind of going after was trying to get some sponsorship from some places, like the casino or waivers there, because of how they're benefiting and we're paying the bill on it. Was that anything ever done with that, or approached for that, or
Yes,
who sells bait, or some advertising to put on the toilets? That's what we talked about.
Yes, Councillor, we did approach them, and there was basically no interest response back. That might be because due to COVID, that there was really a lack of sponsorship coming back. We also approached some other private corporations as well, and other large businesses to see if anybody was interested. There was some interest, and then it kind of fizzled out. It's never, no one's ever come in and said that they're willing to put their name on our porta potties.
Could we maybe try again?
We can
Maybe
certainly
to
keep trying.
offset some of this cost?
We can certainly keep trying.
Thank you.
Okay, I believe that, oh, go ahead, Councillor Bazarowicz.
Just on that, like, I know we're targeting a lot of businesses, but how about some of our locals and something, maybe they just don't have a flair for it because it's sewage? Have we contacted our second callers? Maybe they want some recognition?
Well, and the other ones that I thought of is just some of our local businesses, like we talk always about waivers and South Beach and some of the bigger businesses, but what about our private individuals that have a business?
That's what I was saying with second
Yeah.
callers.
Yeah, so. Okay. Have you read the resolution then?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Okay, I believe I have a mover and a seconder for the resolution. And if there are no further questions or comments, I will call the question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried. Okay, the next item we have is the audited financial statement ending December the 31st, 2019, and I will move that over to Deepak, and he can fill us in on that one, please.
As you know, the last council meeting, we did pass the resolution for the draft audit statements that were completed in 2019, and this is the final report from the auditor with the financial statements and audited financial report that are required to be submitted to the province, and as well as in relation to our gas tax and other things. So this is our final year-end December 2019 audited statements.
Okay, and from, if I understood correctly, when you and I spoke the other day, our 2020 is being worked on and it should be finished in the not too distant future?
Our 2020 is being worked on, and then shortly after 2021, the goal is to catch back up and make sure that we're up to date on our audits.
Yeah, because on some of the monies that we receive, they need our financial statements or audited financial statements before they release the money. Is that not correct? I think gas tax.
Gas
is one of
tax
those.
and those reports have already been submitted for the gas tax.
Okay. Okay, so if we have a resolution here, if you could go ahead and read it, please, Deepak.
Resolved that December 31st, 2019 audited financial statements be adopted as presented.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Bazarowicz, Councillor Spicer seconds. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried. We have a motion to rescind resolution resolution regarding the tax sale date, and I will let Deepak explain that because there's two motions here, one to rescind the original one, and then another resolution for the new tax sale date. So go ahead, Deepak.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We had, in discussions with our tax service, we had passed a motion for the tax sale date for when it would be, the tax service would be having the date for the tax sale. In discussions with them at that time, we picked December, which is our normal course around December, considering most of our bills and everything for the taxes are done in October. We subsequently, after some dialogue, and we had agreed to December 7th, we received an email back, which has been provided for council there, and the tax service said that they are gearing towards November being the final date from, as I recall, from the dates that, or the months that they had identified would be September to November were the dates that they were looking at doing the tax sale processes for the various groups. With some further dialogue, we've established November 30th as our date, which means we have to rescind the original motion of December 7th and put in a new motion of November the 30th. And that's what's being put forward for you right now. Is the first motion is to rescind the December 7th as our tax sale date and move to November 30th will be our second motion coming.
Any questions or comments? Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
Okay, so since tax service runs this on behalf of the municipality, my assumption then would be is that they look back into, because it's a lengthy process with many dates that need to be met, that they can actually make that November 30th date?
Yes, we've already checked with them and verified that they can actually make the November 30th date.
Okay, so any other questions? Not seeing any hands, so I will ask Deepak to please read the resolution for the rescinding of the original date.
Resolved, Council, rescind Resolution 2022-024 for setting tax sale date of December 7th, 2022.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Strang, Councillor Horbis seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. And then we have for the new tax sale date, 7.4 on our agenda.
Whereas Section 3652 of the Municipal Act provides that council may in any year designate the immediately preceding year or any earlier year as the year for which properties, the taxes in respect of which are in the arrears for that year, must be offered for sale by auction to recover the tax arrears and costs. Be it resolved that the designated year for which properties in arrears be offered for sale by auction be 2021, meaning all properties with outstanding taxes from the year 2022 or prior, and be it further resolved that in accordance with Section 3631 of the Municipal Act, costs shall be actual costs incurred by the municipality for each parcel listed for the tax sale, plus an administration fee of $50 per roll as set forth in the Manitoba Regulation 50 of 97, and be it further resolved that the tax sale be held November 30th, 2022 at 12 p.m. at the Rural Municipality of St. Clements Council Chambers.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Spicer, Councillor Horbis seconds. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, so that brings us down to number 8 on our agendas, which is the bylaws. And the first one we have is Bylaw 3 of 2022, and that is for our annual line of credit renewal. And Deepak, if you could go through that and
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is specifically against our checking account. This is our annual line of credit that must be adopted by council in the first quarter of every year that allows us to be able to draw upon the line of credit should there be a need. As you know, there hasn't been a need for the last few years to be able to draw upon it, but in order to protect the ability to make sure that all bills and all processes are processed appropriately, we still pass the bylaw for the standard line of credit that we receive against our checking account. There is no change in the amount, as we haven't had to draw upon it. There's no need to necessarily change or reduce it because it is just a line of credit against our checking account.
Okay, any questions from council members?
Just
Go ahead.
like to add that there's no charge for it. There's no cost to this whatsoever unless it's used.
Correct.
Okay, anybody else have anything? Okay, if I could get the resolution then, please.
Sorry, Madam Mayor, just a little
That's
slow
okay.
on the uptake there. So this is our first reading for this. Resolved Bylaw 3 of 2022 being a bylaw to provide for the renewal of annual line of credit and given first reading.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Horbis, Councillor Bazarowicz seconds. Discussion. Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, we have a couple of other bylaws that we're going to be dealing with today, and the burning bylaw, which is number 2 of 2022, is on for second and third reading, so I will let Deepak speak to that, and we also have Tyler in the council chamber here, and if there are any questions, I'm sure that he'll be able to answer them. So go ahead, Deepak, if you have anything that you want to add.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is the burning bylaw 2. It's an update to our burning bylaw, and it's been the changes were made that Tyler has made the presentation on, but as now we've received the first reading and we're going to the second reading, I felt it was important for Tyler to come and make a quick presentation to walk through the bylaw and what we have, what we'll be able to address if there are any questions. I'll just share the bylaw screen right now, and so the PowerPoint was added in just recently. So on that, Tyler, please proceed.
Do we just want to go through the PowerPoint slide by slide?
Yes.
Basically, I just wanted to create a very short, little, simple PowerPoint just to go over what changes were made and just to clarify what the difference was on the new bylaw opposed to the older one, and how this new one now incorporates itself with our general enforcement bylaw opposed to the Provincial Offences Act. So to start, I added a section on definitions. I modified the burning ban clarity to correspond when we do put our burning ban in effect with council's resolution, and it's all worded correctly, and it'll allow us to enforce on that a little more easier if we need to. And now the bylaw also, as I previously mentioned, works hand in hand with our general enforcement bylaw. And then I outlined our enforcement and fine section. So section 2 of the bylaw in definitions, there's roughly 10 or 11 different definitions. They all just correspond with commonly used terms when dealing with all matters related to burning. A couple of examples would be a burning barrel, which means a metal container used to hold combustibles or flammable waste materials so that they can be ignited outdoors for the purpose of disposal. Officer means any designated officer, the fire chief, or any other person appointed and employed by the municipality to administer and enforce this bylaw and preserve and maintain public peace. And sky lantern, that means a small hot air balloon made of paper with an opening at the bottom where a small fire is suspended. And again, with the burning ban clarity, I wanted to make sure that the section 9 of the new bylaw was worded exactly how we can adopt the resolution when we do pass the burning bylaw, so they correspond 100% with one another. And basically, It's just stating that the municipality by resolution at their discretion may ban all burning and use of fireworks, firecrackers, and or sky lanterns. You can go on to the next slide, Deepak. And then now with our general enforcement bylaw, again, this was a bylaw we passed in 2020, and so far we have our animal control bylaw incorporated with it and our noise bylaw. Now what we would be doing is putting the new burning bylaw in the same measures as the general enforcement bylaw, which means it's kind of going to allow us to use all the similar enforcement measures and fining system if needed with this new bylaw as we have in the past 2 years with the animal control and the burning and the noise, sorry. And the enforcement and fines. So now with this bylaw being incorporated with the general enforcement bylaw, it'll allow a municipality to issue fines up to but no more than $1,000 per offense as per the municipal act. And after feedback from our fire chiefs, it was agreed upon that the hourly rate for the cost of the fire department attending due to any unsafe burning be raised from $500 per hour to $1,000 per hour. And then in conclusion, the bylaw 2022 will now allow the same direction as our current animal control as stated and our noise bylaw, which are also under the scope of the general enforcement bylaw.
Okay. I'm going to open it up for questions. I think the presentation has been gone through, so I'm going to open it up, and I see Councillor Strang, you had your hand up. Go ahead.
Tyler, just for clarification, you said there that the fine can be up to 1,000, and now the fire department will be 1,000 per hour. So is that like 2 charges? So the people could be fined like 2,000 plus?
Yeah.
Depending how long the there?
Yeah. So hypothetically, if somebody is burning, for example, during a burning ban, and if I try my best to get them to comply and they do not, I can issue that fine. And on a side note, if the fire department does have to attend to extinguish, again, they're only going to come when needed. The hourly rate would be a separate thing. It would be the $1,000 per hour.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, anybody else have any questions or comments? Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
So just for clarification, Tyler, so section 9 allows us to burn or ban all burning, but it also gives us the discretion to say we could ban all burning except for example, the approved fire pits. It's really our discretion. We can, in consultation with the fire chiefs.
Yes.
Thank you.
Anybody else, any questions or comments? Okay, I will ask then for a motion for second reading of the bylaw.
Resolve bylaw 2 of 2022 being a bylaw for the prevention and control of fires within the rural municipality of St. Clements be given second reading.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Spicer, Councillor Strang seconds. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, we can give this bylaw third reading, but please remember to keep your hands up because it is a automatic recorded vote on third reading for the bylaw. So go ahead and read that, please, Deepak.
Resolve bylaw 2 of 2022 being a bylaw for the prevention and control of fires within the rural municipality of St. Clements be read a third time.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Bazarowicz, Councillor Sutherland seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried unanimously. Okay, so that deals with bylaw number 2 of 2022. So we'll move on to bylaw number 4 of 2021. That's the Provincial Offences Act, and there is an amendment there. So I will let Deepak walk through that, and perhaps Tyler has something that he would like to share with us on this one.
So this is as Tyler mentioned, as now the bylaw, the new burning bylaw is aligned directly with the general enforcement bylaw, we do not need to have the old bylaw, which was aligned with the Provincial Offences Act bylaw. And so what we're doing is removing the reference to the old bylaw from the, as an amendment from that bylaw, from the Provincial Offences Act bylaw, and that's bylaw 5 of 2012.
5 of 2012.
12.
Okay, okay.
Did I say 2012?
I think
Sorry.
so. I think so. Okay, but we have the bylaw number 4 of 2021 here.
Correct.
I'm just trying to find where, oh, there is a schedule, so maybe it's in there. Is that where we're taking it out of?
Yeah, it's been taken out.
Out of the schedule?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so bylaw 4 2021 is our Provincial Offences Act bylaw,
Right.
and there is a schedule in that we can incorporate bylaws to be issued a provincial offense ticket. Our older burning bylaw, 5 2012, was attached to that POA.
Okay,
So now that we have the new bylaw, burning bylaw in the general enforcement, we
right.
can remove the old one from that POA
From this,
schedule.
okay, from the schedule. Okay. All right, so, if you want to read the resolution, please.
Whereas bylaw 2 of 2022 being, oh, that is the correct one, yeah. Bylaw 2 of 2022 being a bylaw of the rural municipality of St. Clements for the prevention and control of fires within the rural municipality of St. Clements has received third reading. And whereas bylaw 5 of 2012 has hereby been repealed by bylaw 2 of 2022, and whereas bylaw 5 of 2012 was enforceable under bylaw 4 of 2021 Provincial Offences Act, therefore be it resolved, Schedule A of bylaw 4 of 2021 be amended to remove bylaw 5 of 2012.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Bazarowicz, Councillor Spicer seconds. Any further discussion? Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
So just for clarification, because it's in the schedule and we've given ourselves authority to change the schedule by resolution, that's why we're not doing an amending bylaw?
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay, any further questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, so that finishes our bylaws for today, so we're going to move on to communications for information, and there are a few different items there, and I'm not sure which ones that Deepak would like to speak to, so I'm just going to hand it over to him and see what he would like to do.
I think they're all important, and as part of this, the information has been provided. The one I wanted to highlight for you at this specific point was a thank you letter that we received from the Lutheran Church, so the council was aware of the monies that were raised for the funds that were provided to the Lutheran Church. And with those funds, we donated $1,470 from our Christmas party and from our Christmas hamper for the Christmas hamper program that's done by Abundant Life Lutheran Church. Along with that, the only there's not much else that I thought that I needed to bring directly to your attention.
Okay, I guess the one that I kind of looked at was 9.4.3, and I hope that number didn't change. It's the Department of Fisheries and Oceans, the change shoreline stabilization presentations. I don't know if there was any interest for any of us to be attending that, or whether we should perhaps have Public Works attend, or is it just something that's that we don't have to be too well in tune with right at the moment?
The information was shared with our Public Works.
Okay. Okay, so there's really nothing for us to do. Public Works can attend if they would so wish. It is for tomorrow for an hour and a half.
Correct.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions or comments on any of the items in the info correspondence? I see that there are a number of health-related ones there, and there's the 9.91, the minutes and agenda for a meeting. Actually, Councillor Spicer sits on that committee. And there is the information 9.4.1 on the strategic plan and the advisory council and those things. So being on the health board, I probably sit at least a couple of times a month, our monthly meetings like for the whole board, and then there's a couple of subcommittees. So it's been very interesting. So if there is nothing else on the communications for information, we are at the council reports. And because we kind of talked a little longer than perhaps we should have last meeting, we did not do our committee reports, so we'll start with those today, and we'll be doing for the 2 meetings, whatever you had from the 25th and from today. So I'm just going to start on my screen here, and I'm going to start with Councillor Sutherland, please.
Thank you for that. Okay, on January 18th, our committee of the whole meeting, I don't have much here. January 27th, the Salford Weed Board meeting. Did a budget review, and pending contracts from highways, they may have to lay off one person, we're not sure that. It's just pending on the highway contracts, which are not really clear yet. And equipment rates are going to be going up 20%. February 3rd, it was the MAR webinar. Talked about the EPR, extended producer responsibility, of shifting more of the financial burden to producers and municipalities. There's going to be, at our next webinar, that will focus on the impact to municipalities, so that will be a lot of good information coming up on the next webinar about that. There was a presenters from Jordan Best from Recycle BC at the webinar, government spokesman Matt Popovich, and an MMSM presentation. But the next, I'm not sure now, I haven't got it written down here, the next webinar, but that's going to give us a lot of information about the impact of municipalities of the upcoming changes. And that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Councillor Sutherland. Any questions for Councillor Sutherland? I'm not seeing any hands go up, so I'm going to go next to Councillor Strang.
Thank you. January 12th, I had our RPD meeting, and at that meeting, our mayor was elected again as the chair of the planning board for another term. We had Derek. He was promoted as manager of planning. Yes. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Derek was promoted as manager of planning services. And at that meeting for St. Clements, 2 subdivisions were approved, the Minskys and the Ferry Road. On the 18th, we had our committee of whole and was updates with Public Works, Bylaw, and Finances. January 19th, we had another RRPD meeting, and we had 2 public hearings. One was for St. Clements and one was Selkirk. One was not passed, and one was, the one for St. Clements was not passed. So I'm sure that that gentleman will be coming back and giving us another update of how going forward, because I know he does want to do a subdivision. Also that evening, right after that, I did have Red River North Tourism meeting, and it was the first meeting of the year. I did miss a bit of it, being longer with the Red River Planning meeting. But they did ask for Brenna to be invited to these meetings, and I think she has brought it up with our CAO. They do have other rec associate managers and at the meeting, so Selkirk does attend, and so does St. Andrews. But they do go over grants, events, and they just thought it would be something great, because I know Brenna has shared grants with them, and they have shared grants with Brenna, and that's one of our main sources for our municipality. I know they get a hold of Gary, though, too, and touch base with him quite often for Beaches of 59. They're also just waiting on a date for St. Jude's and Red River North Tourism to do a check presentation to them. So we do have to get back to them on that, but I know we were waiting until it's safe to do so. January 20th, I had Interlake Tourism, and they have their AGM coming up in April, so we'll just watch for their specific date coming. They haven't decided on a date for that yet. And they have made changes to their fiscal year end, and their big thing right now is on their decision is to make their board smaller. They do have 18 municipalities within that tourism group. The other one was their fishing frenzy, that they're with Travel Manitoba, that they're getting free advertising, and CJOB. And I believe Grand Marais and Lockport are two of their destination points for their fishing frenzy that they advertise very heavily on. And February 3rd, I also attended the MAR meeting, and Councillor Sutherland gave us a detail on that one, but the next meeting is February 24th, the one that will impact the municipalities. And that's everything.
Thank you for that. Any questions for Councillor Strain? Go ahead, Councillor Boulanger.
The question would be the one subdivision that was denied at Red River Planning, which jogged my memory on which one it was and the reason why they didn't like what they saw.
You want to go ahead, Sandra?
Yeah, or you can either way.
No, go ahead.
That was Stemkins.
The one
And one of the things was just he was trying to change the zoning in it. We did have a bunch of residents come out at first for his first time, that because he wanted to change it into industrial, and they did not want industrial behind his home. And next time they came in front of us was for the sizing of the lots. And I think if he put them into 4 acres, there would be no questions asked. But going down into 2 acres, it's not on an existing road. And one of the things that his planner there was talking about was for sewer coming down in that area, which we know it's going to be a long time until sewer does hit down to Dunning and Raleigh Road there. So.
Okay, but it was obviously, because it got that far, it was passed by us when it came to us.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
No, sorry, for correction. It never came to the RM for approval because it was a development plan amendment at first. So they went directly to Red River Planning and to the board for approval because it was being done as a development plan amendment. I've since met with the developer, or had dialogue, sorry. These days you don't meet anybody. I had dialogues with the developer, and I will be also having a Zoom call with the planner to understand why they even chose to go down a development plan amendment, because what they were trying to do is create a general development area, which would be very difficult considering we just did a development plan, a new updated development plan to create a whole new general development area, when they were really creating rural residential lots in a GD area.
Okay.
And the other thing, I'll just chime in here for a minute, the other thing that caused a little bit of confusion was the close proximity to our transfer station. And you can only build so many meters from the transfer station, and when you drew the circle around the property, it did take quite a bit of the property in, and whoever bought one of those lots would have to seek permission from the province to build on it. So that was another thing that a lot of the board members thought was not good, because, I mean, if you buy a lot and you can't build on it, that's not a good thing either. So I'm really glad to see that Deepak is going to be having a Zoom with the property owner to see the best way that we can help him to get his subdivision done. Because I know he's very anxious to move forward and do something with that property. Okay, Sandra, do you have anything else?
No, that's everything, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Councillor Spicer, your turn to chime in.
Okay, we had a committee of the whole on January the 18th, and that was policy discussions, finance and projects and service levels. January 20th, we had a regular meeting at the Gaynor Family Library. We welcomed 2 new Selkirk reps, Erin Nozel and Laura Bennett. We went over the December 2021 financial statements. Looks like at this time we should be in a surplus position. The library report for the end of the year. Of course, it's a lot of it has COVID written all over it. But we do have some good stuff. We had the opening of the Legacy of Love project. We signed a new 4-year union agreement with the staff, and the director has a new contract. Borrowing of books is still going well considering COVID. We've added some more shelving and weeded some books, so it's better for patrons to find books. Programming's been affected, of course, because of COVID. Adult was shut down. Baby time has had the highest use in history of the library. Story time has been on Zoom. Halloween was shut down. Lego was only online. Seniors was only 50%, but and double vaxxed, but it was full. Cafe has been closed, and very few room bookings. So we started the audit for the library, so we should be able to get the information to the RM before time is required. And right now, we're only doing curbside. That was due to the new provincial orders out at that point in time. We haven't talked about how that may change due to the new orders being, I guess, pretty soon, if not, what was it, today?
Today.
They're supposed to start. January 26th, 22, IERHA rehab meeting. I asked Deepak to put a lot of that information on the agenda for you so you can read it at your leisure. So basically, once again, and I'll cut this kind of short, is this is our second meeting. So we, as the mayor alluded to, there's 6 strategic planning areas and groups. They've had about 2 months that they've been working. So they're still doing their frameworks and work plans and how they're going to put those goals and how they're we're going to achieve those goals as it relates to the strategic plan. So, there's lots of good information coming out, and Debbie's sitting on one of those 6 boards also, so that's awesome. And our next meeting is April the 27th at 5 p.m. The only other thing I have to comment was Dr. Mateer was not working with us this last while because he was seconded to the COVID task force. So we did have Marion Ellis, who was the acting CEO, run the meeting. And February 3rd, 2022, I also attended the MAR transition to the fall EPR. And this, as Councillor David Sutherland had mentioned, this is kind of the primer, the basic information. So we know what full extended producer responsibility actually means in recycling. A lot of good information, a lot of history on how it has been run and is going to try and transition to. And as David had said, I think the next meeting is February the 24th, Dave, and that's when it really comes to how is it going to affect the municipalities. So once you sign up for one, you're signed up for all 3, so I plan on attending the next one. If you have any questions, I'll try and answer them. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Scott. Any questions for Councillor Spicer? Go ahead, Councillor Strang.
Do we have how many board members do we have from St. Clements? As you just mentioned that Selkirk has 2 added. Are there some from St. Clements?
I believe that we'll be getting, I believe we're short 1 board member on the library, and if I understand correctly, we'll be getting a letter to that effect. So thank you for the question, and that'll give us a heads up. It will be a community, a citizen rep. I think we're a short 1.
Yeah, we normally have 2, and I'm not even sure who is on the library board now from our municipality. I know that when
Marion and myself at this point.
Okay, Marion Mayer is on there.
And I think Larry Legance.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he was on, but he's resigned due to health concerns.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, that was the one I was thinking of because he's from the Lebo area and he was very interested at one point in time to get on the library board. So hopefully we'll be able to get somebody else on that library board, but we'll wait for the letter to come and we'll move forward with that. Any other questions for Councillor Spicer? Okay, go ahead, Councillor Horbis, please.
All I have to report is the COW meeting on January the 18th. That's all I have.
Okay, you didn't have any committee meetings of any kind?
No.
Okay, thank you for that. Councillor Belanger.
Yeah, all I have is the weed board meeting that Dave and I attended. That was January 27th, and I didn't hear all of Dave's report, but Lori Hunt was elected chair again, and Dave was elected vice chair. That is it for me.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Go ahead, Councillor Bazarowicz.
I'll be brief as well. All I have is January 18th, the COW meeting that we were all at. We also did Don Forfar's funeral that day. And then January 25th, we had regular council and planning via Zoom, and that's it.
Okay, thank you. Did you attend Don's funeral then?
Just virtually.
Oh, okay. Okay. Any questions for Councillor Bazarowicz? Okay, I'll do mine. I'm back to January the 11th. We had our council meeting. January the 11th also I had our PD, the special committee meeting. That was the committee that's working on Selkirk's departure, and I will be honest, we have had quite a few meetings and we are getting perhaps close to the end, so hopefully I will have something that I can report perhaps at the next meeting, I'm not sure. Again, January 12th, we had the RPD special meeting, and Councillor Strang reported on that, along with the RPD meeting on the 17th of January. The 18th, the 17th of January, that was a meeting that I sat in on to deal with communication strategy for the Bill 37 and how it's going to affect the residents and ratepayers in our area. Jennifer wanted to have just a quick meeting to see, and we're going to try and get something out because Bill 37 will impact all of our municipalities, so she wanted to have a good communication done on that part of it. So 18th of January, Committee of the Whole. The 19th, our regular RPD meeting, and Councillor Strang reported on that. And January the 20th, the CAO and I sat in on the municipal committee regarding the proposed sand extraction in the arm of Springfield. There were to be some open houses which were canceled, and we haven't had any new dates yet. A letter of appeal was submitted regarding the issuing of the environment license for the plant. Like, the province issued a license for the plant without even the issuing of the actual operation being done, so everybody is quite upset about that. There is quite a bit of information on the CEC website, and KGS is putting together a work plan as to next steps. There was an update on memberships, and the group was advised that there now is a new minister, and that being our MLA, Jeff Wharton. And a media release will be drafted for use on our websites to let residents know what is happening, and I believe we just got that. So that one will be shared. January 21st, again, I had our RPD special committee meeting regarding Selkirk. January the 24th, I sat down with Mayor Johansson, and myself sat down with Marilyn Fair and Richard from Sear to discuss the possibility of Sear taking on Lake Friendly. The South Basin Mayors and Reeves as a group received no funding for promoting the importance of the lake and the role it plays in the province. So we met with Sear, but at the same time there were a couple of other board members that met with Red River Basin Commission to see if either of the two groups could kind of take Sear or take Lake Friendly and put it under their wing, because as I said, South Basin Mayors and Reeves receives no funding for that. There was a lot of work put into the Lake Friendly logo and a number of publications that can be used by schools and the general public. The one component that we feel is quite important right now is the H2O IQ, which needs updating to include an Indigenous component. So Sear will talk about it and see if they can take us under their wing. And also I understand Red River Basin Commission is doing the same thing, and we were supposed to have a meeting this past Monday, I guess yesterday, and that was canceled because nobody has gotten back to Colleen Sklar regarding taking us in. So once I hear more, we'll probably have some more discussion on it. And again, January the 24th, a special committee meeting regarding Selkirk. January 25th, we had our regular meeting here. January 28th, we had an invitation, the CAO and I, to discuss the study of the Grand Marais sewer. So Deepak may speak a little more to that, but it was just a quick, very short meeting just to see where we were going with it. And then January 28th and February 1st, I had a special committee again, 2 short meetings. And February the 3rd, we actually met with the mediator and we did make some progress on Selkirk's departure from RRPD. And of course, everything was in camera, so I can't speak to anything more than that right at the moment. So, and that's all I have. Go ahead, Councillor Boulanger.
Yes, at your silica plant meeting, did any more information come on whether there was a few more municipalities coming on board as partners?
I think some municipalities and also some First Nations had been approached at that point in time, but nobody had jumped on board yet. And I don't know if our CAO has anything further to add to that since that time.
Thank you.
Okay, I guess it's your turn, Deepak.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And I've just loaded the Cio Report for council. I'll just share it right away. Okay, so start off with, January has been a very, do I need to enlarge it more? Is that better? Okay, January has been a challenging, the year started with a challenge. We've had some accidents and health issues related with staff members. On top of, we've had some, as well, the Omicron virus had affected various staff members, including myself, which had an impact on some of our delivery. With that, I wanted to give you a bit of an update of where we are today. First is the capital projects. The construction of the water treatment plant upgrade and for the softener and overall expansion has been going forward smoothly, and our intent is to be able to deliver that. It'll be complete by September of this year, at which point we can have a fairly significant event opening up that water treatment plant. The wastewater regional force main is well underway. Italian Construction have been doing construction work. They're already, the pipes, the directional drilling are going forward from East Selkirk towards Lockport, and they reached as far as Clark Road already, and they're proceeding forward. They've also started the directional drilling underneath the floodway, and we'll be having an event tomorrow afternoon to highlight that significant project. Along with that, we have continued to communicate with our residents for the pre-sale for these projects, and we're still expecting that July of this year, our force mains will be connected and open up a significant part of the RM for further development, which has been restricted due to the lack of sewer capacity. So the RM has continued to be open to the public throughout this latest wave, the fourth wave in our COVID wave, and this one has been some of the most significant. As mentioned, we've had some impact on our own staff, so we've separated into two cohorts with staff attending, half the staff working 1 week at home, the other staff working on 1 week in the office. This allowed us to continue to be able to provide service to our citizens. Although we did have had some significant challenges with the snowstorms, and these snowstorms have not only affected our ability to have staff being able to make it to work, it's been difficult throughout the city, throughout the province, as roads were being closed throughout with these significant storms. The Public Works has been on top of it to the best of their abilities, but heavy winds did create some significant challenges for us. We've also initiated a requirement for delegations for council meetings to be limited. So we're encouraging everyone to be on Zoom if they're coming as a delegation. If for some reason they cannot attend by Zoom, then what we're asking them to be is fully vaccinated before they attend, to be able to provide proof that they're fully vaccinated. And we're limiting their attendance to be able to come and make a presentation and leave. We've made some arrangements to be able to view our presentation from outside the council chamber for those individuals, but we're limiting the number of people inside the council chamber in order to deal with this rapidly spreading Omicron variant. The other is we've started the year-end review, and we are working on the 2022 budget preparations. And as part of our year-end review is something I wanted to discuss with council on how we go about maybe possibly doing a budget seminar and with further communication. So I think some of that discussion that we had earlier about paper documents and information to be circulated to our residents, this might be something we could explore as we move forward with our with the last budget for this council. Next is the general meetings. I've had committee of the whole meeting as well as council meetings, and then I have the regional force main construction project with TALU and WSB and Manitoba Water Services Board, as well as Heritage Committee, meeting with the Heritage Committee chair and co-chair, exchange our auditors on the purchasing policies and audits, Manitoba Water Services Board and Gateway on the water treatment plant, and as well as RRPD on the planning files. The province of Manitoba on the various grant applications that we've been working with them on, and Valley Fiber on the easement on the right-of-way. The Manitoba Water Services Board on the Grand Marais Force Main study, as well as the province of Manitoba on some of that discussion. And then there's been various general meetings within our business operations and developers. So that's my report, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you for that. Any questions for our CAO? I guess go ahead. Oh, sorry, Rob, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Deepak might have said, but I might have missed it. How did the meeting go with the Heritage chairs?
It went well, and there's further discussions on that in the in-camera.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else? Any other questions for Deepak? I know that a couple of the items that he did mention here, we will be discussing in camera. So if there is nothing else, we can move on. I'm just going to get you to change your date on your report.
Oh, okay. Is the date wrong? Apologize for that.
That's okay. I didn't catch it. One of the counselors did. Shot me a note. So we'll get you to change that in case anybody's looking at it. And I guess with that, we can take a 5-minute break, I think, and then we'll move in camera.
Okay. Did you want to take a break or go into in-camera and then take a break?
We'll go in camera and then take a break. So did you want to say something, Rob?
Moving it.
Oh, okay. We'll go in camera.
Resolved, council recess the regular meeting and go into in-camera to discuss legal and personnel issues, and further be it resolved that all matters discussed are to remain confidential as per section 83(1)(d) of the Municipal Act.
Okay, that was moved by Councillor Belanger, seconded by Councillor Horvis. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried.
Okay, so let me stop the recording.
Recording stopped.
And Heather?
Two comments.
Just wait, let's go.
Are we still doing a break, Debbie, or?
Yeah, just a very short one, because we'll do a couple of items and then we'll have